In the early 20th century, a man named Wilhelm Vogt pulled out one of the most astonishing impersonations in German history. Vogt was a shoemaker with a criminal record, often in trouble for petty theft, but one day in 1906 he walked into a military uniform in Berlin, purchased parts of a captain's uniform, and transformed himself into Captain von Copnik. A completely fictional identity, dressed in his new outfit, he walked confidently into a local army barrack and ordered some soldiers to follow him. Believing he was a real officer, they obeyed. Watt then led the troops to the town hall in the small town of Copnik, arrested the mayor, and seized the municipal treasury. The entire town believed he was a legitimate officer of the German army. It wasn't until days later that the truth emerged. He was a nobody, a man with no authority at all, just a costume and confidence. His story became a sensation, raising serious questions about how much of our identity is tied to how we look. This fascinating tale forces us to ask, when we change our outward identity, are we simply pretending, or can we actually become someone new? The story Imitating the English Gentleman or Playing the English Gentleman by Mahatma Gandhi that we are discussing in this video explores this very question. Hi everyone, this is Roni Datta from onlinefreenotes.com. Before we begin the discussion, if you're looking for questions and answers related to this story, check out the description or visit our website onlinefreenotes.com, where we provide solutions for different subjects of different classes across different boards in India. With that being said, let's jump into the story. When Gandhiji was in England, he started reading many books about eating only plants and vegetables. This way of eating is called being a vegetarian. A man named Henry Salt wrote a book that made Gandhiji very interested in learning more about this topic. He read many books by different writers like Howard Williams, Dr. Anna Kingsford, and Thomas Ellinson. These books told him that many wise people from long ago ate only plants and no meat. Dr. Ellinson was a doctor who believed that eating only vegetables could help sick people get better. At first, Gandhiji chose to eat only vegetables because he thought it would keep his body healthy. But as time passed, he started eating only vegetables because of his religious beliefs. Gandhiji had a friend in England who cared about him very much. This friend was worried because he thought Gandhiji would become weak if he did not eat meat. The friend also thought that English people would not like Gandhiji if he kept refusing to eat meat. This friend was also scared that reading so many books about vegetarian food would confuse Gandhiji's mind. One day, Gandhiji's friend decided to try one more time to change Gandhiji's mind about eating meat. He invited Gandhiji to go to a big fancy restaurant called the Holborn restaurant. This place was very grand and expensive with many well-dressed people eating there. When they sat down to eat, the first dish was soup. Gandhiji looked at the soup and wondered what it was made of. He was worried it might have meat in it, but he felt too shy to ask his friend, so he called the waiter to ask if the soup was made only from vegetables. When his friend saw Gandhiji calling the waiter, he became very angry. He said loudly, "You are too clumsy for decent society. If you cannot behave yourself, you had better go. Feed in some other restaurant and await me outside." Gandhiji was actually happy when his friend told him to leave. He went outside and found a vegetarian restaurant nearby, but it was already closed for the night. So Gandhiji did not eat any dinner that night. He waited outside and then went with his friend to watch a play at the theater. Neither of them talked about what had happened. Even though his friend had been angry with him, Gandhiji could see that his friend truly loved him and wanted to help him. Gandhiji decided to make his friend feel less worried about him, so he decided to try to become what people called an English gentleman. Gandhiji looked at the clothes he had brought from Bombay, India, and felt they were not good enough for English society. He went to a big store and bought completely new clothes. He bought a tall black hat that cost 19 shillings, which was a lot of money in those days. He also spent £10 on a very expensive evening suit from Bond Street, which was the fanciest shopping area in London. He asked his brother in India to send him a gold watch chain. He learned how to tie a necktie properly. In India, Gandhiji had only used a mirror when the family barber came to shave him, but now in England he spent 10 minutes every day standing in front of a big mirror. He would carefully arrange his necktie and comb his hair to make it look perfect. His hair was not naturally smooth, so every day he had to fight with his brush to make his hair stay in the right place. Gandhiji thought that just dressing well was not enough to make him a real English gentleman. People told him he needed to learn dancing, French language, and elocution. Elocution means learning to speak clearly and beautifully. He thought French would be useful because people from different countries used it to talk to each other when traveling around Europe. He paid £3 to join a dancing class, but he could not learn to dance well. He could not move his body in time with the piano music. Gandhiji then tells us about a story of a recluse. A recluse is a person who lives alone, away from other people. In this story, the recluse got a cat to catch rats. But then the cat needed milk, so he got a cow. But the cow needed someone to take care of it, so he got a man. The recluse's needs kept growing and growing. Gandhiji says his goals were like that recluse's needs. First, he wanted to dress well, then learn dancing, then he thought he should learn to play the violin so he could understand Western music better. He bought a violin and paid for music lessons. Then he decided he needed to learn elocution and bought a book to practice speeches. Then something important happened in Gandhiji's mind. He says, Mr. Bell rang the bell of alarm in my ear and I awoke. Bell was the name of the man who wrote the elocution book. But bell also means the thing that make a ringing sound to wake people up. So Gandhiji is saying that reading the book made him wake up and think clearly. He started asking himself questions. Am I going to live in England for my whole life? If not, then why am I learning elocution? How will dancing make me a gentleman? I am here to study and become a lawyer. He thought to himself, if my character makes me gentleman, this is good. If not, I should give up this dream. Once Gandhiji had these thoughts, he decided to stop all his lessons. He wrote polite letters to his elocution and dancing teachers. He went personally to visit his violin teacher and asked her to sell his violin. The teacher was kind and friendly. Gandhiji told her honestly that he had realized he was following a false ideal. The violin teacher supported his decision to make this big change. Gandhiji says this infatuation lasted about 3 months. Infatuation means being so interested in something that you cannot think clearly about it. But even though he stopped taking lessons, he continued to be very careful about dressing properly for many years. After giving up his dreams of becoming an English gentleman, Gandhiji says, henceforward I became a student. This means he went back to focusing on his real purpose in England, which was to study law. Even though he and his friends had different ideals about food and behavior, their friendship remained strong. Gandhiji could see that everything his friend did came from love and wanting to help him. The story shows us that trying to be someone we are not can make us feel lost and confused. Gandhiji learned that being true to himself and his beliefs was more important than fitting in with what other people expected. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for such videos. Do check out onlinefreenotes.com, and as always, thank you for watching and I will see you in the next video.